ring. Hello, hello, Ben.
Benjamin, yes, speaking.
Hi, Benjamin. This is Krish calling Flow Ops. Ben, this is a business-related call. You're one of the operation leaders for XYZ company, correct?
I am.
Okay, I was actually calling, the reason for my call, well, basically, was because we actually help a ton of operation leaders like yourself with operational chaos and manual work. How we do that is by automating the internal process and reporting. Quick question I had for you is, how are you measuring success for your operations team right now?
How am I measuring success? Off the top of my head, we have a variety of metrics and measurements that we use. Software and systems. I mean, nothing too flash, but it seems to work. Why? What is it you think you could do for me?
Well, so a big thing, right, that we can do is we actually help kind of automate internal processes. So in operational standpoints, when I speak to a lot of leaders, I hear that many of your employees are wearing multiple hats. They're kind of spread out doing this, doing that, and it's just chaotic, correct? And what we want to do is, our big goal and our why for why we even exist is to kind of bring that chaos and make it more, efficient and allow you guys to waste a ton of time. Does that make sense?
Well, you could chuck a stone and hit any company that needs to have more structure and order to what there is that they're doing. But tell me about your product then. What does it do exactly? How would it work?
Yeah, so, bouncing a question back to you, which is something I had, was when I mentioned the multiple hats thing, are a lot of your employees currently wearing multiple hats in the operational workflow, or does that maybe not apply to you guys?
We have a handful of people that do multiple tasks, yes.
Okay, so they're constantly bouncing from one task to another. How are you measuring that? You said you were using some tools, software tools. When they're bouncing from one end to another, how are you measuring their productivity? And obviously the goal is to keep things simple and consistent, which is what we do. But how are you measuring that productivity for them?
Well, on outcomes.
Okay.
If they're achieving what they've been targeted to achieve, then I'm happy with their output.
And are you happy with all of the... I don't want to overstep here. We just met, but are you happy with some of their outcomes? Or if you could change one thing, what would it be from an operational standpoint?
Well, I'm struggling to think of anything off the top of my head. I get calls like this all the time.
Could I just give you a quick proposition? I don't want to waste most of your time today.
All right, you can have
Benjamin.
10 more seconds and then
Okay,
we'll see
look,
where we
a
go.
lot of customers that are currently our clients have benefited from at least being educated with why we do what we do and how we can help. Would it be the worst idea to maybe just invite you for a short conversation via Teams or Google Meet or even Zoom just for 15 minutes tomorrow? You're in the Eastern time zone. Does 15 minutes work at 1 p.m.?
No, I don't have anything... I'll end it there.
Okay.
Was I going to say anything in my diary? Was I going to say, what was I going to say?
Oh,
Dun,
I'm
dun.
done. That was so nerve-wracking. My stress is relieved. I'm ready to go eat. I couldn't eat lunch. That's how.
Really?
Lunch was just sitting here.
Okay. No, it's good. You could tell you were nervous. You could hear it.
Yeah.
You could hear it in your sound. Because so as a prospect, you really pick up on that. So this is it's possibly go one of two ways. Either help you out or they double down and be completely bastardy. I try to do middle of the road there. One thing you did, which is I picked up on it, but you instantly corrected it. But everybody has a habit of shortening people's names. So you said, is that Ben? Yeah?
Benjamin, yeah.
And I said, it's Benjamin. And then you corrected yourself and went back to Benjamin. But just a rule I always say to salespeople is always use if you got the full, always use someone's full name. Because if you shorten it, it's just one of those people always say to me, you're a Ben or a Benjamin. I go, what did I just introduce myself as? Yeah, hi, Benjamin. Are you Ben or Benjamin? Yeah. So, and you get Matt's get it as well. They have Matthew and someone says, is that Matt? Oh, no, it's Matthew. Yeah. So it's important. So you want to start the conversation off without irritating them from the get-go, right? So always be conscious of that. Again, you did a lot what people do. You launch straight into talking at me about you. A lot of salespeople do that. And to try and hook me, as I say to all the salespeople, you need to talk about my world and what I'm perhaps facing. And you use a lot of buzzwords and a lot of what I'd say is marketing sort of talk. So it's very broad. And when you make a very broad pitch, it's very, very easy for me to go, we kind of got most of that. And, because you're not really hooking me. It's not, latching in my mouth. So the points in your initial pitch need to be much more specific and clearer. I say they're like mini stories. So when I phone up a CEO, I don't say, I'm a sales trainer and I help your team prospect better, because the word prospect is so broad. I need to make it relevant to his world. I need to think, if he was sitting in the office right now and looking out at his sales team, what would be pissing him off? And then I talk about that. So then I say to him, so when I phone him up, I say, you're probably frustrated you've got salespeople that are reluctant, not motivated to pick up the phone. They, yes, I guess I get. Or if they do pick up the phone, they struggle to pick past gatekeepers, get fobbed off, can you send me an email? Yes, we get a lot of that. Or they're constantly moaning about the data, or they're blaming the competition for their inability to set meetings because they're cheaper, or other excuses. Yeah, I get all of that. Yeah, see, that must be fun. So that's where you've made it very specific to their world, rather than I help people prospect better to achieve better outcomes so that their bottom line is, you see there's a big difference. You want to tell little mini stories. That's more effective. I mean, your style is good. I like the sound. I like the tone. I think using your notes was a disadvantage. I was going to say to you, I didn't want to because it was your choice. I was going to say at the beginning, but I said, don't use notes, because you always know when somebody's reading something.
Yeah.
You can sort of hear it, yeah, and the way they're talking. And when you're focusing on your notes, a good prospector has the ability to have a what I call a conversation. And so many salespeople why do all salespeople end with an open-ended question nowadays? So you list 3 things that you fix. So which one of those do you recognize, or whatever it is? And again, that open question leaves it easier for me to say nothing. I always phrase questions in the negative. I get the feeling you're going to tell me you can't recognize any of this. So when you tell people they can't recognize something, it's amazing how quickly they find a reason why they can. People don't like to be told what to do, you see. So I flip it. Yeah? I bet you tell you can't recognize any of this. Well, I wouldn't say I can't recognize any of it. You see, they fight you. People hate to be told what to do. It's a fascinating little quirk. But no, overall it was good. I'm not going to tell you which way I went, because we've heard a lot, and there's a variety and there's a range here, and 4 have to go through. But if you take some of the feedback and apply it in the next round, which is what we're looking for, then who knows? The sky's the limit in cold calling for you.
Thank you.
Well done, because like you say, most people won't do this.
Yeah, I feel a lot better. I mean, I think it's just the initial. It's just like when you're walking into something, you don't know what it looks like. You get a little nervous. But now
this is why when I hire salespeople, I make them make calls in front of me, because how you perform under pressure is what you're going to be like every day.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how many people won't make a call in a sales interview.
Yeah, I mean, the way I got my current job is, I mean, I cold called the VP of sales and pitched him, and then he just skipped all the interview rounds and gave me the job the next call. So
that's it. Proof of the pudding. Demonstrate what you do rather than talk about it. So that goes into your pitch then. Demonstrate what you do through making examples in their world, as opposed to this is what we do.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, you can't phone up a stranger and say, shut up, let me talk about me for the next 2 minutes, which is effectively what most salespeople do.
How did you feel about it, Krish? What went through your head?
Good. I think when he asked questions on how we do it, I'm like, I don't know. Flow Ops is a made-up company, so I guess I just had to pivot it into like asking him questions like, how do you measure success with your team? Or it's just certain questions I would ask in my current role. I try to maybe change the words a little bit and just be like, because that's what I ask when I call healthcare leaders is, how are you measuring our competitors? Or so I just tried to maybe pivot and make him answer questions as opposed to me, because I wouldn't know what to say because I don't know Flow Ops.
Yeah, of course. I personally think when you did that, it like turned the conversation really well, actually.